Hello, this is Matt Hardy, and you can catch me on Sportskeeda Wrestling.
Hey Matt, how are you doing? How are you keeping in? How are things with you?
I'm doing great. I'm at home with my family, all my kids. We have four now, so quite a few. So doing real well.
As one of the greatest tag team performers of all time, do you see a little bit of the Hardy Boys in Private Party?
No, I definitely see a lot of similarities in the two teams, especially with those guys so athletic and acrobatic, and that's kind of like what they built themselves around as far as making a name for themselves and getting hired initially with AEW. And I feel like my job when I've been with them as Big Money Matt has been to teach them to be more aggressive, to be a more complete professional wrestler, a more complete tag team, and they have really succeeded in that. So when the time comes around for them to get the opportunity to be pushed in a major position for the tag team titles, they're going to be ready this time around. I feel very confident about that.
Amazing. So the last time I spoke to you was when you had come down to India, and it
Mm-hmm.
was obviously a very different time. And one of the things you said was that you hope that the Bucks of Youth join WWE. So a lot has changed since then, obviously. How does the AEW locker room feel as compared to where you were before?
The AEW locker room is just fantastic all the way around. It's such a great, positive, uplifting, supportive environment. It's the best locker room I've ever been a part of, and everyone there really has the big goal in mind of like just presenting the best product possible. And I think that's why AEW has been so successful.
I mean, during our last interaction, you also said that you were constantly pushing for the Broken Universe to be accepted by, Vince McMahon and all of WWE. So you came here with the Broken Universe. So why did you make the transition to the HFO?
Well, Broken Matt Hardy and the Broken Universe is a very fan driven persona and character. And obviously, due to the state of the world, we're in a pandemic. I debuted on the first empty arena pandemic era show. So we weren't playing to any fans in the live venues. So that definitely made it hard, especially being in Jacksonville, because I was playing to the fans at home more than anything else. So that's why I decided to change directions and start doing Big Money Matt as opposed to Broken Matt. And it almost the fan base at AEW, they are much younger and they're also looking for a more in-ring athletic product as opposed to the entertainment. And that is something that is definitely very different from the AEW fan base and the WWE fan base. I can definitely tell the difference between the two fans that will watch both products. And for me, something with a more serious note just works better for the AEW audience.
All right. And are you having just as much fun doing this persona?
Yeah. And just recently I talked about switching. I am really going to be probably for the first time in history, just like the legitimate Matt Hardy, just like an authentic version of myself. Like if you interacted with me in real life, how I would act. That is kind of what I'm gearing towards more on AEW television right now.
So I'm 35 years old. I grew up watching you and Christian Cage have amazing matches. What was it like to have a match in 2021 with him?
It was very cool. I mean, I have known this guy obviously for a quarter of a century now. Myself and Christian Cage, we obviously have so much history and we help build one another's careers in many, many ways. So to be able to be in the ring with him on a live Dynamite and rock the house and go out and have a killer match was so much fun. And it also feels very rewarding for both of us being the older guys, just to show them that we can still go out and do that.
And speaking of older guys, you also had the whole broken feud with Chris Jericho. So what was that like? I mean, coming here and facing Jericho.
It was fun to interact with Jericho. Jericho is one of the greatest of all time, no doubt about it. And just to be able to verbally go back and forth with Chris Jericho and have fun with him, he's just a great person to work with and to work off of. So that was very enjoyable for me.
So now there are quite a few free agents on the market right now who could be lapped up, and one of them is a very good friend of yours, a certain gentleman named Bray Wyatt. Do you think we could see some kind of a reunion in AEW?
I love Windham personally, and I'm a big fan of Bray Wyatt, his creativity and like his thought process, his whole procedure, the way he does things from a character perspective. I would love to see him at AEW, and I would love to work with him again.
Another one of my questions was, so we have another section as a part of our site, which is the pop culture section. And you have been one of the biggest advocates for my favorite show of all time, The Walking Dead.
Right.
Uh, do you think season 11 was the right place to end the show?
You know, I suppose it is. I mean, 11 seasons is unprecedented in this day and age, especially considering the length of their seasons as well. It had an amazing run, and thoroughly enjoyable. I dig your Negan shirt, by the way. I actually have that same shirt, but I was a big fan. I'm a big fan of any series television that tells a good story and kind of allows you to escape. It's much like a wrestling fan watching pro wrestling. That's what we do. We offer an escape for people. So my preference is to watch a series television show, and The Walking Dead was very enjoyable. I enjoyed it from the beginning to the very end, and it sucks it has to go away, but sometimes it just, the story is complete and it's time to move on to a new to something new.
So what are some TV shows that you are watching right now that you really enjoy?
I'm super hype about Dexter New Blood that just was released. I'm so happy that they are having another chance to finish the season in the best way possible. I feel like after their first 8 seasons, their first 4 or 5 I thought were amazing, and 6 and 7 I liked a lot, and 8 I just felt like they lost their way a little bit, and they didn't really offer a definitive finish. And I know a lot of people weren't satisfied with it. They didn't feel like they were rewarded for watching all 8 seasons. So I'm so happy that they have another season to kind of like finish on a high note. And I've loved it so far. The first 6 episodes of it have been awesome.
Amazing. So, I mean, early in the morning for us yesterday, I guess it was last night for you, or maybe 2 nights ago. I lost track of time, but AEW proved that the audience has the capacity to enjoy a 1 hour long match on free television. Did you see that coming? Did you think it was one of the biggest risks that any promoter has taken?
It was an interesting choice for sure. Audiences have such short attention spans in this day and age. So to have a match go out there and go for an hour is, it's definitely testing the audience, I would say. And I'm very curious to see what the quarter-hour breakdowns are, just to see how the viewers, what their how well they retained throughout that hour. I'm very curious to see how that looks. But I mean, the crowd live in the building, I was there, they obviously thoroughly enjoyed it, and they stayed active and they stayed evolved and enthusiastic the whole match. I mean, those guys went out there and they busted their asses. Both Adam Page and Bryan Danielson worked so hard to make this great, compelling match. So I loved it. And I think it's a cool thing that wrestling fans really enjoy wrestling that much. They're very happy to be there for an awesome and excellent hour match.
Because you were going sort of in the opposite way, right? I mean, you saw the evolution of the wrestling fan and you changed the way that wrestling was done. So, I mean, now that the audience also accepts this kind of entertainment, do you think it's a positive sign?
I mean, I do. I think it's a positive sign if we are promoting wrestling, and wrestling, the in-ring product is the main thing you're building around, and they're totally engaged for 60 minutes long for an hour match. I think that's a very powerful statement. And I still think at the end of the day, the thing that separates wrestling from other sports is the entertainment aspects. And I think those entertainment aspects are very important. And AEW does a really good job with that. But first and foremost, they put like the sports aspect as a priority. And I think that's why AEW has been so successful, especially from the diehard pro wrestling fans.
So finally, to wind up the interview, I mean, like me, a lot of fans in India have grown up watching you. Do you have any message for fans in India?
I mean, I love the fans in India. I had such a great time when I was over there, when I saw you before. And it really is amazing. I tell people how much wrestling is so beloved in India. Like everywhere I would go in India, I would be recognized, which was so cool, especially when you think about that. You live on the other side of the world. And, I'm a boy who grew up in a very country, rural city in, a very country area of North Carolina. And to be able to go across the world and just walk out and be treated like a superstar in India is very cool. And the Indian people are very kind. I'm also a big fan of Indian food and the culture. So yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed my time there. And I think Indian fans are just some of the best fans on earth.
one of the funniest clips that I've seen from your trip to India was when you took the broken persona to Indian Idol, and those people didn't know what was hitting them. So that was insane. Like that was
Yeah,
something.
it was a lot of fun.
Uh, Fantastic. Uh, Absolute last question. Is there somebody on the roster that reminds you of you?
Interesting. I mean, it's hard for me to look at the Young Bucks and not think about young Hardy Boys, and also those guys are they have such good minds, and they're such good business people. I look at them, and not only do they kind of remind me of myself and Jeff earlier on in our career, but also I'm very proud of them because I've been friends with them for a long time, and I'm so beyond proud at their growth and the contributions they have made to pro wrestling. They're fantastic.
Thank you so much for your time. And I mean, I hope you have a very long run in AEW right now. I look forward to all of your matches. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.